What's up, everybody? Welcome to Third and Longhorn in a very special edition here at Disch-Falk Field in the Yeti Yard, man. They let us in here.
Baby.
They're keeping everybody out till we get out of here. It's crazy, man. We got like VIP status.
Big time.
And speaking of VIP status, man, we have the main man here has joined us, Ruger Riojas. Ruger, welcome, man.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Man, I was so excited when they said they could get you because I've watched your kind of ascension here this entire year. It's been awesome to see. You kind of started just in the rotation, and then you were getting some Sundays, and then now you're the Friday starter, man. And not only the Friday starter, but you went lights out on Friday against Texas A&M. So we beat the Snook Border Collies already, took care of them twice. So got one more today. But man, I think mainly the entire show is gonna revolve around your mustache and asking about mustache questions. So I'm gonna kick it off first because you have a little more swag than a lot of players I've seen, and it's a combination of mustache and dancing. Can you tell us where this comes from?
Yeah, no, I just think it's me. I mean, I like to have a good time and just try to have as much fun as I can when I'm on the field, and I think that's all built some self-confidence, which I think is, as a pitcher, the most important thing you can have is self-confidence over skill confidence, and truly believing in yourself and that your ability to compete is 1 to none.
Yeah. Well, all joking aside on the mustache, like I think it's been a quick ascension here for you. Obviously transferring in from UTSA and getting here. Can you talk about that? What that was like getting here and kind of adjusting?
Yeah, no, it was pretty hectic getting in the portal at the time I did, but I mean, like, this was the first school I reached out, and whenever I came on my visits, they treated me like family, and it felt like family, and I would have been stupid if I went anywhere else. Like, this is truly like greatest decision I could have ever made in my life. Like the resources we have here at UT and just the amount of care that goes into your development here is like, it's top tier. There's a reason it's the mecca of college baseball because they truly care about their players here.
What's been your favorite part? Just like, wait, why are you smiling?
I mean, it's
You know what does that mean, bro?
You know what it is.
What's been the favorite part you want to share?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think just like the bonds that we've made here, like it's truly a family. There's no cliques here. Everybody in the program gets along with everybody. Everybody's equal here. There's no managers, coaches. Everybody that's involved with the program is truly family, and you don't take one of them for granted. Everybody here, their role is super duper important, regardless of what their title is here.
That's amazing.
I got an ignorant question because I've never played baseball, let alone played it at this level and played at the level that you've been able to play it at, nor did I ever play pitcher. But from the standpoint of preparation, how do you prepare, or is there a difference in the way that you prepare from being the Sunday starter versus now having to fill in from injuries, transitioning to being the Friday starter?
Yeah, no, I think the only difference in preparation is between starters and relievers. Relievers, they could throw any day of the week, whether it's Tuesday or the weekends. Starters, you have your set schedule. So you have, say it's your Friday, Saturday through Thursday. You already have your set schedule if you're already built up a routine like that. So it took me some adjusting just because I was in the rotation. So I was used to, having to, if I had to throw Tuesday, I did. If I had to throw Friday, I did. But having that set schedule is, really beneficial for the starters since, they put so much stress on themselves for every game.
When you're saying schedule, you're talking about practice on like Monday or practice
on
Tuesday,
you can go practice, practice, treatment, recovery, everything that you need to do to get your body to feel right for your next start.
Yeah.
Hey, Ruger, let me ask you, because, coaches often, they're consistent, right, in the things they say and with their coaching methods. With Coach Schloss, what's the kind of one coachism that he continuously echoes and repeats with you guys that he's trying to nail down and trying to make sure that he programs into your mindset?
Yeah, it's just sticking with your routine. If you don't have a routine, it's just like you don't really have anything built up for you. Your routine, it's called the compound effects, where you get small good things, whether regardless of what it is, that can build up over time and reward you. And so that's why we like to stick to our routines, because the game knows. It's the weirdest thing ever, but the game just knows when you're not treating it right, or if you are treating it right,
ball don't lie.
Reward you. Right.
Ball
yeah,
don't
ball
lie.
don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Yeah, like that. Anything else?
What you got?
I got more.
Oh, I got more. No, you go, Rod, if you got one. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you, because I asked you before, was Texas A&M the best rivalry in college baseball? And you said yes, just full disclosure. What is it like to now participate in that rivalry? And now with college baseball, the college baseball world watching.
Yeah, no, it's special. I mean, it's hard to put into words. Like this has been one of the most heated rivalries since the two schools were founded. I mean, they've never liked each other. I mean, academics, athletics, just everything about it. Like, it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of because, like, there's thousands and thousands of kids who would have loved to compete in this series, these 3 games. And like, the fact that it was me and 40 others that are able to do it is truly, like, a blessing. I'm just so grateful to be a part of this. It's like, it's the most unreal feeling ever.
That's awesome. Well, I got to dig in a little more on the shimmy, and because I will not forget. I do forget which game was it. Was the first time I saw it was either Missouri or was it Kentucky?
I think it was Missouri.
It was Missouri. That's right, man. And it was just it was like good game, whatever. And then you made a big strikeout, and he turns around to second base, and he's facing the camera, and he just gives a little. A little. Can you repeat this?
Yeah.
Can you show us what this looks like?
No, so there's some lore to it. So I like to work on new pitches. I like to have as many shapes as I can, and like that strikeout was the first time I threw a sidearm slider, and I
love it. Oh, I love it.
Ruger, I'm assuming this is the family. This is the family you were talking about.
You can tell you guys don't like each other, man.
These are your brothers, huh?
Football, they throwing around out there.
I don't even know who those guys are. So
Yeah.
But no,
Awesome, man.
I got a strikeout on a new pitch I'd been working on, and it was just so exciting. I guess that was the first thing that came out was just this little shoulder shake, and I guess it's like you can call it a little swaggy thing.
So it wasn't planned. That wasn't like a planned touchdown celebration or something.
No, I was like, ooh, that was sexy.
You just feeling it.
In the moment. Went into it.
You know a little bit about shimmy action.
Was pre-planned.
Can you give a little synopsis of how the shoulder shimmy?
Don't be afraid to.
No, you got to stay mobile and loose. Yeah.
Listen, those that can will.
Okay. Yep.
Those that can will. You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try. We don't need it. We already saw that lame attempt. No, but man, I loved it. And it was one of those moments where I was like, this kid's solid. But when you had that moment, you could tell he's feeling it. The confidence is there. And I was like, oh, this is the dude. Yeah. So no, it's been fun, man.
Now I gotta ask, the music since we've set up here in the Yeti Yard, we're hearing Drake "Party Next Door." Is that a team thing? What's the Drake theme?
Yeah, I think there's some influence that goes into it. But I mean, I think the people that work up there know the vibe well. I mean, they're our age, so they're in with what's in today. So it just works well. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. Every day is a different vibe.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I got country, R&B.
So it's just okay.
It's a gumbo.
You gotta go with the flow. All right then. I like it.
Well, man, I know you gotta get because we're obviously keeping you from the squad, but we really appreciate you stopping by, man. We're excited to keep watching you play. So
I had a great time.
Appreciate you coming in.
Hook 'em.
Absolutely.
Hook 'em. All right, everyone. We have another very special guest in the house, an absolute legend. And the 1983 College World Series MVP, as well as I can't even count how many years you were in the majors. And probably what you're most famous for is being my freshman high school basketball coach as well. But we're not going to tell any stories about that. But, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Calvin Schiraldi. Coach, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Well, Coach, we always start our shows off the same way, and I kind of want to do the same thing with you. Like, how did you get to Texas?
I wanted to be a major league pitcher, and that was the place to come to be able to do that at the time. Year after year, there was always an All-American, and Texas was known for pitching, and that's where I wanted to be. Plus, I lived here in town, so that was easy.
Yeah.
How was it like? Being from here, living here, and then coming here, how was it playing in front of what I'm assuming just friends that you grew up with, family, just on a daily basis? How was that experience?
That was awesome. My mom and dad actually kind of kicked me out of the house and said, you're going to live in the dorm and do all that stuff, which was probably the best thing for me. Because I had the option of staying at home. Coach Gus wanted me to stay at home to save some money. But I said no. I'm gonna be with the guys, and that just kind of formed our bond. But playing in front of the home crowd, that was every day is pretty cool.
Right. Right.
Coach, we look back and you talk about playing in front of the home crowd. the stadium looks vastly different from whenever you played back in the 80s to what we see now in 2025.
No Yeti yard.
Talk
No Yeti
about
yard.
some of the changes and differences that you've been able to experience since you've come back on the 40 and able to witness the rise and continued success of Texas baseball.
Well, the biggest, well, there's so many changes. Nothing is actually the same. The only thing that I think is the same is the roof that covers the stands, because that was the only thing that was here when I was here. The turf is different. It used to be hard as a rock. Whenever it'd be warm and a ball would hit on the ground, it'd go 20 feet in the air. And I mean, nothing like what it is now. This place is awesome. Granted, times have changed a lot. It's done the same thing with the football stadium and just the way college athletics is portrayed and known for. I mean, Texas is known for athletics. It was always known for athletics, but they never spent the money. And now they're spending the money to bring in the money. And I think that is the biggest difference as far as what I see now versus what I played in when I was here.
Yeah.
Let's take another. I'm gonna get your thoughts on another comparison. You won national title here at Texas. This is a blue blood that's won multiple national titles. You follow the program. A lot of baseball fans believe right now, Texas baseball fans believe this team has the capability to win a national title. They're that good. What are some similarities between the championship teams you've seen here on the 40 acres, been a part of, and this team here?
Biggest similarities, I believe, is the pitching. That they're just arm after arm. It's hard to lose your number one Friday night starter and then replace him with a Ruger Riojas, and then you bring in Luke in the second game and be successful. You look at like what happened with A&M when they lose their best hitter, they crumbled. And Texas has lost their best pitcher, their best hitter, and yet they're still kicking people's ass. But the pitching and speed kills. And these guys, when I was here for the Santa Monica game and they walked onto the field, I just went, damn. I wasn't used to seeing guys that big, but the guy's that big and can move. I mean, that's a deadly combination.
Yeah.
Well, you've obviously been around the program and seen the various iterations that you got to play for an absolute legend in Coach Gus, as well as you saw the years with Garrido, Coach Pierce, Coach Schloss. Like, give us your quick thoughts on Coach Schlossnagle so far and what you've seen from this program this year.
He likes to let the kids have fun. He wants them to have fun, and for me, as a coach, that is the biggest thing. The kids got to enjoy doing what they're doing. You can't make it a drudgery to come to practice, a drudgery to come to game. They have a good time, and I think that's the biggest difference over the last. I mean, from even before me, it was a business then, and now it's these guys are having a great time, and I think that's the biggest factor that promotes community, like Ruger was talking about earlier. That promotes community and fellowship on the team, and if you can have fun together, you're going to be successful.
I mean, that's how it should be, right? I can only imagine the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes that no one sees or talks about. And then to get out here and not have fun, what would that be?
That would suck. That would absolutely suck. I mean, you're spending hours and hours doing the stuff on the side for what? If you can't enjoy it with your buddies, that's a recipe for disaster.
All right, Calvin, give me a really good Gus story, Coach Gus story.
Coach Gus was known for trying to save the University of Texas a lot of money, and because in 3 years, the only time we ever traveled, we went to ORU for 2 games in 3 years, other than conference. That's the only time we traveled. Everybody else came here.
Yeah.
But one time, he was known for, if you left change in the locker room, he'd look down and see it, and he'd pick it up. So one of the guys put a quarter and put super glue on it and super glued it to the floor and just to see what he would do. And Coach Gus was walking by, he saw that quarter, and he reached down to pick it up and And the locker room just started busting out.
Couldn't get it. That's
He was
hilarious.
frugal then.
He
Coach was
he was frugal.
frugal.
He
He
was
knew the
very
value of
frugal.
money.
Very
My
frugal
dad
with the
was
University
listen.
with the University of Texas's money.
There you go. That's why
A
he's a
guy
legend.
like that will never go broke. Okay? I respect that. I
Right.
respect that
Because
100%.
it's taking your change.
Exactly.
I do want to ask you though, from a playing perspective, obviously having the opportunity, you win the College World Series, you got to play in a World Series yourself. What was the differences of playing in college baseball and then playing in the pros?
In the pros, every player you face is the best college player on their team, and that's the difference between college and pros. Because like for me, being the College World Series MVP, I went to AA thinking, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Right.
Well, yeah, I was sent down 6 weeks later because I was 3-3 with a 6-something ERA and going, I'm not that good. So I got sent down, which was humbling, but it was necessary.
Right.
It was a necessary evil. And then once your mindset gets to, okay, I'm not as good as I think I am. I need to start working, refine what needs to be refined. And the next year I went from AA, AAA to the big leagues. So it's like I said, big league players are their best players from every college team, and you know it's not an easy sport. It's like anything in professional sports. People, they make it look easy, but it's not.
Is it a bigger jump? I'm sorry, I want to dig in a little bit to that too with the minor league system. Is it a bigger jump going from college to, let's say, like AAA, or is the jump even greater going from AAA to the majors?
The biggest jump is from AA to the major leagues.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, well, the way it used to be when before baseball changed with all the minor league stuff, when teams would have 6 and 7 minor league teams, they would put their prospects in the AA system and then bring them up from AA to the big leagues. AAA was used kind of as a stopping point, send these guys down here, but the prospects went to AA. So AA was your prime deal. Now I don't know how they're actually doing it. I'm sure because they just have one team per level. So I'm assuming the AAA is, you get to AAA, you're getting close to the big leagues. Very few people are going to go from AA to the major leagues now. They're going to go to AAA and then to the big leagues.
Gotcha.
Calvin, you talked about the Texas pitching staff now being, the component most similar to these championship teams Texas had in the past. What pitcher on this staff has a skill set most similar to yours, or even reminds you? Maybe it's playing style, maybe it's skill set. Which one kind of reminds you of yourself in your day?
I would say Ruger.
Nice. So you had a little shimmy too?
I didn't shimmy. I talked a lot of trash.
There we go. I know that part. I was going to say, I don't think you danced.
I was a trash talker. I was not a shimmier. But just his style, fastball, slider, changeup, mid-90s fastball, slider that is really good to go both sides of the plate with it. I think he reminds me of me a lot.
Nice. I like that.
All right, Coach, I was not asked to do this, but you're probably going to kill me for doing this, but I'm going to plug this because he has a new book, and it's called The Arena by Calvin Schiraldi. And, man, I'll say this just personally knowing you since I was, I don't know, how old are you when you're a freshman, 14, 13 when I was an idiot, still am. But I had no idea the depth of your story and what, you had not only been through, but we're going through. And I think to me, it felt like you were on the, I'm chilling with the end of my career now. You'd played pro, you'd done, you'd accomplished everything in college, and then you were, helping coach young kids and doing that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. He's kind of living out the rest of his story. And then you read this and you find out there's so much more to your story and so much more happening. And can you kind of take us through a little bit what you feel comfortable sharing and just what's in the book? Because I think you have this incredible story that actually really helped me too, and I think it could help a lot of people.
For me, writing that book, you talk about the differences like you said, I was doing that at the time, and that was more just a mask. I had developed being an alcoholic, and that took me down to levels that people just don't realize. But you put on a mask. You learn to put on a mask to be able to get through it. But what for me, what had happened was I had let other people define who I was, and I didn't know who I was. And once I got sober, I just started to discover who I was, and I wanted to be that person. And I, in order for that to happen, I had to just throw everything out there. Everything in that book is what has happened to me. I didn't hold anything back, because if you hold it back, then it'll come back and bite you in the ass later. And the therapy in writing the book with David Cook was because it was his idea to do it. He's been wanting to do it for a long time, and I just, being a drunk, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I was happy living in my misery, and once I got sober, it was like I don't want to do this anymore, and that helped bring me out of it. And now it's just about, the book was written to help people realize that no matter how far down you get, there's light at the end of the tunnel if you want it. You just have to go get it, and that's what I hope comes out of that book. If it can help one person, it was worth writing.
Well, thanks for sharing that, and I mean that. Like, it's absolutely incredible, and I had no idea the depth of what you went through. Obviously, for those that don't know, Calvin pitched in the Bill Buckner, what's known as the Bill Buckner game of the World Series for the Red Sox, and to this day still gets hate from people in emails and whatever. It's probably mail, because they're probably older now. So, but no, but for real. And so, like, to know that you were going through that and have people kind of attack that, I think you're such a good example of someone, someone I knew you were a lot like me, where you just kind of hold it in and just and figure out other ways. But then to hear you process and to see you do this, I think is very inspiring. And I mean that this book is absolutely incredible. We'll put the URL up on here too, so people can pick it up. But thank you for sharing this, and I mean that it means a lot. So
thanks, Nick.
Why did you, if you don't mind me asking, why did you call it The Arena?
Because at the time, The Man in the Arena was already a book out, and because what really resonated with me was the Teddy Roosevelt quote, "The Man in the Arena," and that was essentially what my life was like. The cold and timid souls basically are trying to define who you are, and I had let that happen to me, and that's why it had to be something related to that quote from Teddy Roosevelt, and that's what came out of it.
That's awesome. I want to shift gears a little bit, still on the concept of identity, but baseball has always been synonymous with walk-up songs, right? Especially for pitchers. I gotta know, how did you choose your walk-up song? Or was it random? Like, what?
No,
what's up? You didn't have one.
I did not have one. I wouldn't have wanted one, and
you would not have.
No.
But if you would have been forced to have one, what would have been that song when you were in college?
No, that was Mitch Williams. That was my buddy Mitch Williams. I think it would have probably been a Johnny Cash, late. One of his what's the
Ring of Fire, I Walk the Line, one of those.
No, the older cut. the faith-based ones that he had at the end.
Wow. We'll put it in the comments if you remember after.
I can't remember, but it's not Grit. but something like that.
Sing it.
Oh, I like
I
it.
guess.
I like it.
That would be the one.
Fozzy always trying to
Man,
get
that ain't
somebody
gonna
to
happen.
sing and
That'll
dance.
never happen. You don't want that.
The most Shiraldi thing of that was that everybody else, would be coming out to like hype music. I don't know what the hype music was in '83. It's like, Tears for Fears or something. And Shiraldi's like, let's go deep cut number 13 on the Johnny Cash. It's just like a quiet acoustic song. Like everybody's like,
Exactly. There you go. That's it.
Well, Calvin, one thing you did say in the book that you mentioned was you talked about just your routine. You talked about not wanting to wear a jacket no matter how cold it was because it would mess with your mindset, right? So I'm thinking, was that just, looking back on that, was it just pure stubbornness? Was that just superstition, or is that just good old Texas tough? What is
Everything's superstition. Don't step on the white lines. Do the same thing. Clean the rubber off after every pitch. It's all a superstition.
This reminds me of Jordan, like lacing them up. He would lace them the same way every single time.
That's the way it is. It's nasty socks. Your success, and I'm changing them. Not washing them. Not changing them. Not happening.
Is that still like today? You have
No, I'm out of that.
superstition.
I'm out of that.
like
coach,
superstition.
as
6 hours to get
a
here.
coach, I still don't step on any white lines.
Okay.
that's awesome.
But that's really about it.
Yeah.
But I don't step on the lines. That's not going to happen.
I love it. I love
The
it. That's still
routine.
there.
I mean, it's because we talked to Ruger and he said that's what Coach Schloss preaches. Routine.
Got to
Get
gotta
your
have,
routine.
Got to have a routine. And got
Small-
to do the same thing.
Yeah.
No matter how big or how small, it's got to be the same every single time. I mean, for instance, like Wade Boggs would eat chicken every single day. Every single day. I don't know how you do it, because I hate chicken, but every single day he ate chicken because that was his thing. And he said one time he tried pork chops and he went over, and that was that a
That's all
lifetime.
it takes.
That other white meat.
That's all it takes.
That other white
That's
meat,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Goes over and immediately he's like, it's the pork chops.
It's the pork chops.
What happens, because obviously superstition is tied within all sports, right? Let's say you've done your superstition or your routine for a prolonged period of time, and then a bad game happens. Do you change up your superstition at that point to start a new superstition tradition?
You lean in hard.
You just lean. Oh, you
Yeah.
dumb
No,
it down
'cause
on it.
you look at it as a fluke.
Yeah.
It's a fluke. It's a fluke. It's a fluke. I'm going back to my other way, because then the next time out, you're successful and you go, okay, it was a fluke.
It works.
It
Yeah.
cleaned itself up.
No, he's right.
at the
Okay,
ship.
I want you to tell me, and I'm asking stories here. I know I asked the Coach Gus story. You coached Nick, a young Nick Shuley.
Gosh.
Here we go.
Give me a young Nick Shuley
This part's getting
story.
cut.
Was he?
Yeah.
Did he have a jumper?
Yeah, right. That's
He
what we got to
can
start.
play a little basketball.
Oh,
We would do a 2-on-2, and I would have him because he knew how to run the post. I was a post player. I'd flip it out to him,
Pick and
make
roll,
my move.
baby.
He'd stand there, be ready to shoot.
Okay.
Be ready to shoot if I don't shoot it.
Okay.
And so we'd run that.
I
But
didn't get to shoot much.
exactly. But
Except private school.
but
school.
the,
I mean, that's
the
fair.
talent show where him and
Oh,
I can't remember
no.
who it was.
Oh,
The talent show.
Yeah, went out and did the karaoke version of Bohemian Rhapsody.
oh, yeah.
No, you didn't.
this is-
This
Oh, we
shit-
gotta hear
did.
this.
Yes,
We
he
got
did,
hard
and
enough.
it was actually really good.
Oh,
Listen.
what? Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
We
It was
need a
good.
re-edition
Did
of
he pay you
this.
for
We
that?
need
Yeah,
a
it was
re-edition.
all
How much
It
did
was.
he pay you for
Don't
that?
say
I
that.
want the original footage.
Come on.
I want the original
You know,
VHS.
The
I
most
want the
important
original VHS footage.
the most important part of that story was the prize was $50, dude. And $50 in high school was like, I won the lottery,
And you
man.
won.
Like,
And you won. So y'all won
we had to
with
split
it.
it though,
It
so
is.
25.
It is.
Yeah. No,
Oh, so
but-
you did win?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
come on, man.
so it was
Landslide.
good?
Come
Okay.
on.
Landslide.
Come on.
Coach said it was good. All right.
Nick,
Oh,
Give
man.
us a sample.
Nick
Give us a
is
sample.
the private school
Talent
talent show champion.
Shiraldi just ruined all my. Not that I had any
Nah,
cred
man.
on this show, but I was Fifth Ward Nick.
Ward
And now,
Nick.
like,
Fifth
anyway.
Ward Nick.
Anyway. Well,
Talent champ.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming by, man. And like I said to everyone out there, and I mean that, this book, The Arena, is phenomenal. And you can find this at thearenabook.com, and you can get it there. I cannot recommend it enough. And you know my reading level. I got through this in like a day and a half. Like, and I'm not kidding. Like, it's a quick read and it's fantastic. So thank you so much for coming by, Coach, and we appreciate you. Hook 'em.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Hook 'em.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. We have another very special guest here in the Yeti Yard, folks. Absolute Texas legend. I mean, on so many levels, and I mean that. Keith Moreland. Keith,
Yeah,
welcome.
baby.
Thank you for coming.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
hanging out with you guys, dodging fly balls.
Yeah, exactly.
But you said if it hits the back of your head, you're safe.
You're all right. You hit the back of your head, fuck.
I don't think that's what the
That's
doctor
Up
would
here's
say.
bad.
That is
Back
science.
here's okay.
That's science.
Nobody sees back there.
Ain't a Longhorn alive's not hard-headed.
I love that. Well, Keith, it's pretty cool to get to interview. I don't know if we can see it on camera. But we can see your name hanging up in the stadium there. And obviously you had an amazing career at Texas, an amazing professional career, and you've done so many things. But can you talk about that moment, what it was like to get your number retired? Because that's, I mean, look, there's 10 up there. I don't,
Amen.
9, 8.
Nick, that's really strange. I always look at the world as a little bit. Rod and I have worked together as teammates. When you're working on a show or something, I look at the world. It's not I, it's we. And I just had a really good team. I had great parents. It set me in the right direction. I had a great sister that traveled around the world to the ballparks to see me play. I have a great wife of 50 years that was around then and was with me then. So it is a teamwork. I mean, that is an individual honor that is so awesome, and I can't thank the university. I can't look at anything and go, oh, my word. It's just awing. Except it's just an honor. It's a privilege and it's an honor, and I'm humbled to have my name mentioned with those guys that are up there. And but it's all about team. And A-Rod is doing his thing.
There we go.
I was trying to see who it was.
I do a lot of the games, so I know all the kids. So I know he's messing with me, Flower Mound, Texas boy.
There he is.
Hey, what people don't know about the legendary Lifetime Longhorn Keith Moreland is that you were a two-sport athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I get
couldn't
that.
play with you guys.
I know. I just
But I
said.
tackled Earl Campbell and figured out I ain't going to play on Sunday. So I need to find something else that I can
The
try
key
to do.
word in that, though, was the fact that you tackled
You
Earl
did
Campbell.
tackle
Hold
him.
on
I
now.
tried to tackle.
Tripped him.
Tackle attempt.
Oh, well, can I ask you just real quickly then? How about Jonah Williams? What are your thoughts about him? Because he had a potential to be a great two-sport athlete.
There's
here
no
at Texas.
question that I don't know what – I know he's a safety, and I know he's an incredible athlete. Like watching him in practice and watching the things that are going on. So I don't know how that converts to, 52 yards wide, 100 yards. I don't know what that's going to be like. So I haven't seen that yet. But over here, on this side of it, athletic, he's got a flat swing that is impossible to teach. It is natural. He really gets on top of the ball. He creates underneath spin. He's really going to hit. I really believe if put it this way, if he committed totally to baseball, he's got a chance to really play. Wow. He might be able to do both of them and do them at a very high level. There's been some guys, James Street, it was one here at University of Texas at the highest level on both sides. I mean, he was one of the best pitchers in the nation and led us to a national championship on the football field. So I think he's a tremendous player. I love his future, and I think you may see him in today's game. If they throw a right-hander, you're going to see a young guy, and when you do, he is exciting to be on the field. I can't wait to see him that first A&M Texas, that first time. All of you guys who are sitting right here with me know what that's like. That's a different feeling. That's a different thing in your hands. My hands are sweaty now. I haven't played in 50 years. I'm just sweaty now.
Keith, let me ask you, was there ever a time, two-part question, was there ever a time that you really considered going the football route? And if you ever did, like if you went fully dedicated that way, what do you think your career would have looked like?
I don't think I play on Sundays. When I played and I played defense, I didn't have to worry about guys. I had a tight end in the flat. My job was to lean up, put this. Yeah. Warheads on foreheads is the way I look at it.
Warheads on foreheads.
I mean, my job is to bust somebody up, and now that part I could do. I like contact.
Yeah.
So let's go. That part I was good with. Now, can I run well enough to play on Sunday afternoon? I just don't think my God-given talents would allow me to be able to do that. So I made the right choice for me.
Oh, it's very clear you made the right choice.
I absolutely loved what took place on Saturday afternoons. It's still some of my favorite times that watching Roosevelt Leaks put 342 on SMU in the Cotton Bowl and just sitting there in awe of watching this man go in that particular game. Other things that being rated number one in the nation and going down and fumbling 6 times and losing at Miami and you're heartbroken because you knew how good you were, right. And we just never recovered from having the ball put on the turf. It just happens, That's the game. Right. But I love the game of football. It's still one of my favorite things to do is broadcast football. Yeah. I really study it. I watch it. I understand it. It is my heart's love. God gave me talent to play this one, and I'll talk about it and love doing it. But football is my first passion. I just wasn't good enough to play on Sunday.
Good note. That's a good note.
Since we're on the conversation of transition, throughout your baseball career, you transitioned from third base to playing catcher. Talk about what that process was like. Was there a steep learning curve that you had to undertake in order to learn the catcher position? And then which one did you feel most comfortable playing once you did have to make that transition?
Well, it's really a two-part question. What you're saying is, it started out that I went, what? You're going to make me what? But I was also 3 years younger, of a guy that had 150 home runs in the big leagues named Mike Schmidt that played third base for the Phillies.
Oh, yeah.
And they looked at me and says, we can hit. We want to get you to the big leagues, but you're not going to play third base. And I said, I understand that. So I was willing to make that transition. And then the pitchers got to know my number because I was going back to the screen a lot early.
Yeah.
It was a real hard transition. There's a man in my life named Mike Irish. A guy from Boston, he always talk about, give me a half a yard, which was half of $150 bill. It took me a while to understand him, but he did such a great job of teaching me how to make that transition in behind the plate. And then once I got to the big leagues, the great thing that I had the capability of doing is I wasn't tremendous at any of them, but I could be left, right, first, third, and catch. So I was pretty valuable to a ball club if somebody went down. I know I started more than 300 games at 5 positions in the big leagues.
Wow.
So,
Man.
So I that sometimes that may be saying that he's not very good at any of them, or he can do all.
He can
of
do
them.
everything.
Be able to do all of it.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, I like the another part of your career that impresses me so much, and I truly mean this. I'm not just saying that because we're on the show. You are the best in the business when it comes to announcing baseball, and I will say that as someone who I didn't grow up playing baseball, right? I like watching baseball. Like I was a George Brett fan, like that kind of thing. So I knew the game, but I don't know the game like you know the game, like these guys know the game. And so I think watching a game with you is so interesting because you have an approachable style, right? Like for someone who knows so much, you make it accessible to everyone. Can you talk about how you found that style? And because I think it's very unique, right? You either know too much or you don't know enough generally, and those are the announcers, in my opinion.
Well, I really appreciate that. It starts out with a man named Bill Schoening. Was here in town, just retired. To tip of the cap to him. He just retired as the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Bill really helped me, and he said, you got to develop. He said, I'd like for you to do games. I think you would be really interested. You played here at the University of Texas. You got 12 years in the big leagues, and you're back. And would you like to do some games? So I started doing them, and boy, I go back and listen to some of those games, and it's god awful. and I go, oh my word, I got to get better. But then, just like anything else, just like all of you do in your life, especially athletes. I'm not going to get embarrassed, so I'm going to knuckle down and figure out how to do this. I'm going to go to work and get this done. And that may be the conceited of us, but I think athletes are that way. They just say, I'm not, no, this is not happening to me. I'm going to make sure this happens. So I really took a lot of time and patience to learn. And then your style comes about is I always get asked by people, why does this, why and that? So my style as a broadcaster is I'll explain the play as it's happening, and then I'm going to explain why it happened and how it happened. So somebody that doesn't really know exactly why it took place and what's the reason for this, I try to put it in terms that somebody that really doesn't know a lot about the game can understand. And that's just my style, and I've been that style ever since I've done it. And this is my 32nd year as a broadcaster.
Wow.
Man.
Well, it makes it very accessible, and I just want to compliment you because
thank you.
I really enjoy watching games with you.
I love doing it. I can tell you, it's just like I said, we're playing Texas A&M. My hands are sweating. I mean, it's the closest thing. We got guys right here on this panel that are talking right now, or in the media now. I tell you, this is as close when you're behind one of these as it is teeing it up and going play.
Yeah.
Because you want to do the job, you want to do it right, you want to do it for folks. You prepare. You can't imagine. Yeah. I worked with him for 2 years. Most prepared guy I've ever been.
He's a machine.
Rod B.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thanks,
we
dude.
walked in to do a show. He was prepared. I had something I'd throw at him. He had it.
Yeah.
And I'm going, how does he know that I prepared for that.
Yeah.
Looking around saying,
He found my notes.
where did this come from?
Does he pull those notes out of his pocket?
Oh, yeah,
Long
one
paper,
at
you
a
like
time.
spiral
One at a time, too.
Go
Doesn't
here,
give me- doesn't give me-
fold,
It's not
fold,
unfold
fold.
where I
Yeah.
can, maybe he go to the John. I can
Yeah,
No, he pulls him out.
Oh no, trust me. Higgs and I prepare the notes for these shows, and Rod comes with more notes than we have.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
spend like 2 hours doing it.
That's the other part of broadcasting. It's the same thing. All the people know the voice of the Longhorn, Craig Wade, most prepared man you've ever been around.
That's why
in your
I'm,
life.
because I worked with him forever. That's
Yeah,
why I
I
do.
mean,
it.
it's
Yeah,
very
true.
well done. I mean, you go out and you work in other places. I just got back, as a matter of fact, work in Georgia, Oklahoma, 3-game series in Athens, Georgia. By the way, beautiful ballpark, Foley Field.
Best town.
And you get there, and when you work with somebody that you've never worked with before, you can look at how both guys do it. I can tell before the first broadcast that Lance Comier that I was working with was going to be very good because he had stuff everywhere. It wasn't like he had it strode. He had it in order that he wanted to talk about.
Yep.
And then the next thing, you're talking about broadcasting, I like to talk ball.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a football game, I'm
talk
talking
ball.
about Fozzy may have broke 2 tackles to the outside. I'll get to that at some point, but it might be because that left guard made a really good seal to the inside that gave him enough space where he can give that drag leg and come out of it. Because if he doesn't get that, boy, the guy gets both legs, then the drag leg, it doesn't,
Doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter anymore. So those are little things that I know about football. It's the same way. I mean, I just try to explain it as if you're sitting in a deer stand. The way I always put it, you're sitting in a deer stand, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
You can't see it. I'm gonna try to let you know what's going on the field by talking about it.
Keith, you were an amazing, obviously an amazing broadcaster, obviously a freaking hell of a player, but you also had some great coaches
Oh my gosh.
on both sides of it. You think about playing for Coach Cliff, playing for Coach Royal.
Yeah.
All right, I want you to think back a little bit and think about some of those pregame speeches that they gave, right? And I want you to tell me, was there ever anyone that was intimidating or gave you chills, or even when you look back on it, it makes you smile or laugh or even gives you chills today? What was one of the
I'm going
best
to tell you,
pregame speeches
Coach
you got?
Gus's is we go out in the first game and lay an egg in Omaha. And he says, I don't know about you guys. I thought it was a great line. He got on the bus. We're all quiet. We're all really disappointed. You got to get double eliminated.
Right.
Well, there's a national championship up here in this
From that,
particular
yeah.
year. It was only the 6th loss that we'd had all year long in 70 games. So we were a really good team. So he gets on the bus. He says, I'm not a drinking man, but if I was a drinking man, I'd have one tonight. I thought it was the greatest. I thought it was the greatest deal. He didn't say, hey, y'all played bad. He didn't do anything else.
You just drove him to drink it.
And when we got back to the hotel on the bus, he got up, he said, there will be curfew at 1 o'clock, and we're going to go get them tomorrow. And that was the end of it. And that little bit of thing, he relaxed us.
Yeah.
But that one little, so it wasn't a real emotional thing. And then probably the other one with Coach Royal, one of the best things he did is, and again, these are little things. It's not a long-term sit-up sermon,
Right.
but he talked to us about the benefit of knowing that we're Texas and breathe at College Station. We went into College Station to go to the Cotton Bowl. We had to beat them in their yard. If they beat us, they go. And we whooped them.
Yeah.
And he said, men, enjoy the moment and breathe.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was, and I've used that again as a coach to young players, gone to the mound as a coach, coaching baseball at all levels, even at the high school level. And a lot of times I'll just go out and look at it and say, you got to breathe. You can't sit out here, take some air, realize what's going on, and it's not relax because y'all are athletes. You can't relax.
Right.
It's not relax. It's play with reckless abandon at high speeds.
Yeah.
But to do that, you got to breathe, and breathing is so important. So those are two of the best. The best harping preaching guy was a man named Dallas Green in 1980. We were 4 games back of the Pirates, and it's late August. There's a month left to go in the big league season. Pirates are ahead of us. I mean, that's Willie Stargell, Dave Parker. We are family. They're defending world champions, and we're 4 games behind them. And I mean, he went on tirade, and he went to each individual one of us and told us what we needed to do to get better, and it took an hour. But it was good. It didn't matter if he walked up to Pete Rose. It didn't matter if he walked up to Mike Schmidt or Keith Moreland or Steve Carlton, all these guys that are in the Hall of Fame. He'd look at him and say, "This is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. And this is what you got to do." It was one of the best I'd ever seen. It took an hour to go through the whole line. I mean,
We
you
call
didn't
it-
get left out. I can tell you that.
Yeah, he went straight Nas. That's ether. He just went.
Got them all.
But my biggest thank to, I always wanted to be a Longhorn, but the biggest person to thank for me to be here and everything was Coach Rawl, and just how gracious he was. I never spent a dime scholarship from baseball. Coach Rawl kept me on scholarship the whole time, even though in my junior year I didn't. I did something to my arm. I couldn't finish the last 4 or 5 games, and I wanted to get ready for being draft eligible year in baseball. So he was just such a great friend, and played a lot of golf with him later and became a real friend. Mentor, coach first, and then became a great friend. Miss him every day.
Amen, brother. Good stuff.
Well, Keith, we know you got to get back to work because we got one more game against the Border Collies. So I'll let you get back there, man. But we really appreciate you coming through. What an honor.
Thanks for having me.
So.
1 o'clock curfew.
Thanks. Yeah. Want to get back to that?
Still thinking back.
They only lost like 6 games that year.
We didn't get back to 11 o'clock, 11:15. You gotta give us enough time to get out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Keith.
Appreciate it, Keith.
Welcome.